I think most people out there know how I feel about Wayne LaPierre, or as I like to call him, Pepe Le Pew. To say I'm no fan would be a huge understatement. I think he is the worst thing that has ever happened to the NRA and to gun rights in general. I just find this man repulsive. The way he runs the NRA is horrible. I mean, it worked out really well for him short term, but let's look at where the NRA is right now. I have never lived in a time, and I've lived for over 5 decades now, where the NRA was such a contentious topic, even among people in the gun community. So many people are strongly divided on whether they hate it or love it. And that's never been the case when I was younger. It was always, the NRA was fully supported by the gun community. And that just isn't the case anymore. I feel that people like LaPierre and his constant cycle of demagoguery, demonization, division, political cronyism, and then using all that to stick his hand out and get more money so that they can pad expense accounts and support their political friends, that has just turned the NRA into nothing but a fundraising machine for the elite of the supposed gun community. And it hasn't done any good for anybody, really. I mean, anytime there's a difficult fight, they abandon that fight. Anytime there's an easily winnable fight, they'll step in and take credit. But when there needs to be boots on the ground and things done like here in Washington and in Maryland, etc., they're nowhere to be found because that's not going to be profitable for them. And they don't want to fight non-profitable fights. Now, I know a lot of people say, well, they can't just get into fights they're going to lose. Yes, those are the fights you need to fight the most, the ones you're going to lose, because you got to shore up your support. You got to start saying, hey, we're not going to lay down. Because every time they lay down, they embolden the other side. And this whole cycle of we're only going to fight the fights that are easily winnable and profitable so that we can pad our pocketbooks, that is not the NRA I knew. And it's not the NRA that should be, period. That's not the way they should be. This is just, I don't know. It's like I say, it's just a fundraising campaign for the elite. And I just don't like it. They have no goal of actually winning the war for gun rights. They want to maintain the war so they can maintain their big checks, that they get every month. Those big paychecks they get. So it's just gotten to a point where even in the gun community, people are like, I can't stand the NRA, or I love the NRA, or whatever. But it's not a consensus anymore. And it used to be a consensus. Not liking the NRA was nothing you would ever hear gun people say back in the 70s, or even the 80s, or even the 90s, really. So this has just been a downhill slide for a long time. And luckily, I've heard through the grapevine, I won't say who, but a very reliable source, that that's all coming to an end. That the time of LaPierre is over. That things are going to change. Now, one of the things they were talking about when they were telling me this was that the NRA is not happy about how Google has decided that gun channels are offensive, and they're labeling most of us as adult content and not giving us any really good ads, to where we're getting 10% of what we used to earn. We're probably making 1% of a similar sized channel that talked about makeup or, breastfeeding a child till they're 20. They would make, 10, 20 times more money than we would for the same amount of views, etc. And that's not right. I mean, I don't think that's fair at all. That's stifling a huge part of the population and their opinions. So the NRA was upset about that, and I think the NRA should pull all their ads from Google, every single one of them, and then put that money back into the actual channels that are being seen by people, because we could change the content inside our channels. Now, do I have a lot of hope that the NRA will do this? No, because I think the NRA would be more likely to pull all their ads and then choose, based on their past record, 2 or 3 channels that have a good history of keeping their mouth shut and saying what they're told as long as the checks cash. That would be more along the lines of what the NRA is good at. So I kind of am skeptical of them ever doing anything good. But I've been told that, they're not only going to change, but they're going to open up a dialogue with social media. Because let's face it, social media is where it's at as far as getting information across right now. That's why I've been trying to tell people it's so important that gun channels and gun supporters and freedom supporters, First Amendment supporters, everybody, they need to stay in social media. And this whole effort lately to force them out is one of the worst assaults on our civil rights in this country since the 60s. And people are just sitting back and ignoring it. And that's really irritating to me, because it shows that most people have been dumbed down to the point that as long as you give them their gladiator games, they won't pay attention to what's going on. So, I'm hoping that's going to change, and I hope the NRA is going to help gun channels stay in social media. But like I said, what I heard that they're going to do is give social media people a seat at the table, deciding what needs to be done, what fights need to be fought, etc. If that's true, that'll be awesome. Because let's face it, people like Hickok or Iraqi Veteran or Military Arms Channel, Such even, people like that, they reach more people with a positive message about guns every day than the NRA does in a year. The NRA's contact with people nowadays has been degraded to, that guy's evil and he's coming to get you, and give me some money so that I can pretend like I'm going to stop him. That's pretty much what they do now. So the social media people that I mentioned, they reach so many more people with a positive message. So I guess my whole point of this video today is say I hate the way the NRA is now, even though I still am a member and I still support them because they're our only option, although I have shifted most of my money to other things like GOA and more local organizations. But there's hope. I'm thinking right now, if this person that gave me this information is correct, and they probably don't want me talking about this because they gave it to me, I don't know if they did it in confidence or not, but they did it privately. But I hate to break it to you. There's 3 ways to spread information quickly. That's telegraph, telephone, and tell me. So, and I'm not giving any names or giving any details here. But like they said, there's change coming. So I think there's hope in the future. So let's all keep our fingers crossed and hope that in the coming weeks, months, or maybe a year or so, there will be some big change in the NRA, and they'll get back to being the organization that all of us in the gun community can happily support once again.